Hello everyone, I'm Tom Manning, owner of Tower Bridge Property Management. You may have recently seen our company mentioned in news outlets such as Yahoo News and CalMatters regarding a lawsuit that was filed on behalf of me and Tower Bridge Property Management. Since there has been some public interest, I wanted to take a few minutes to explain what the case is about, what it isn't about, and why we're involved. Before I go any further, let me briefly explain what the lawsuit is about. California law generally prohibits housing providers from refusing an applicant solely because they use a Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher. As part of the Section 8 program, rental properties are subject to inspections under the program's housing quality standards before assistance begins and periodically afterward. The constitutional question in this case involves the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution. Most people have heard of the Fourth Amendment, but many don't realize how broad its protections are. The Fourth Amendment protects people against unreasonable government searches and seizures. As a matter of constitutional law, government property inspections are considered searches under the Fourth Amendment. Because of that, courts have developed legal standards governing when those inspections may occur and what constitutional protections apply. Our lawsuit asks the courts to determine whether California can require property owners to consent to those government inspections as a condition of accepting Section 8 vouchers. In other words, the court is being asked to determine how California's Section 8 requirements interact with the protections guaranteed by the Fourth Amendment. This case is not asking the court to decide whether Section 8 is a good program or a bad program. It asks the court to resolve a constitutional question about how state law and the United States Constitution work together. Reasonable people can have different opinions about that question, and that's exactly why we have courts, to interpret the law and apply the Constitution. Our purpose is not to debate the issue publicly, but to allow the judicial process to determine the answer. Before I say anything else, I want to make one point very clear. This is not a lawsuit against the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher program. It is not a lawsuit against Section 8 tenants. Over the years, we've worked with voucher holders, and many have been outstanding residents. We value treating every applicant and resident with professionalism and respect. This case is not about the people who participate in the program. It is about asking the courts to resolve a constitutional legal question. As a property management company, our responsibility is to represent the interests of our clients while complying with all applicable laws. We also believe that constitutional protections are important for everyone, including our clients, property owners throughout California, and all Californians. When questions arise about how state laws interact with constitutional rights, our legal system provides a process for those questions to be carefully considered and decided by the courts. That's exactly what this lawsuit is intended to do. The background for this case includes a recent decision by a New York appellate court involving similar constitutional issues. While that decision applies only in New York and is not binding in California, it raised important legal questions that are now being presented to the courts here in California. Our lawsuit is being handled by Pacific Legal Foundation. Pacific Legal Foundation is a nonprofit public interest law firm founded in 1973 that has litigated constitutional cases across the United States for more than 50 years. Their mission is to defend individual liberty, property rights, and constitutional protections through the judicial system. They believe this case presents important constitutional questions that deserve judicial review, and they agreed to represent us through the legal process. It is also important to understand where the case stands today. The lawsuit has been filed, and several news organizations, including Yahoo News and CalMatters, have reported on the filing. However, no court has ruled on the merits of the case. Like any lawsuit, both sides will have the opportunity to present their legal arguments, and the courts will ultimately decide the issues. We don't know what the outcome will be, and we won't speculate. Our purpose in making this video is simply to explain why we're involved and to provide factual information about the case. As the lawsuit progresses, we'll continue to share updates about significant developments, explain court rulings when they occur, and provide links to the actual court documents so you can read them for yourself. We'll also include links in the description to the publicly filed complaint, Pacific Legal Foundation's case page, the New York court decision that raised similar constitutional questions, and the news articles that have covered the lawsuit. We encourage everyone to review the original sources and form their own opinions. Whether you agree with the lawsuit or disagree with it, we appreciate your interest in understanding the legal process and the constitutional questions involved. If you'd like to follow the progress of this case, please follow our page. We'll continue to provide factual, educational updates as the case moves through the courts. Thank you for watching.